Hey, what's up guys? Doing a quick review on my 2015 Subaru Wrx premium package with the STI Sport package. I got a few bolt-ons on it. I want to review some of the parts that are on it, my thoughts as far as the car goes all. Some of the parts that I have on, I have the Tgv Deletes through Torque Solutions, EGR Delete through IAG Performance. I also have the grimmspeed downpipe as well as the grimmspeed stealth box intake box, Mishimoto charge pipe, the grimmspeed electronic boost control solenoid. I also have the cobb access port, which I have mounted over here, and I'll show you guys how I got that mounted over there. Let's get started. Car's cold, haven't started it yet today, so you'll be able to hear it on a cold start. I have the STI catback exhaust, so you'll be able to hear it with the catback exhaust as far as with the grimmspeed pair as well. That way you can get a sense of that. I've overall really liked the package that I've had set up on this car. As far as the exhaust goes, it's not too loud. It's also not too quiet. Gives me the best of both worlds. I can drive on the highway. There's not much drone on it at all. I will say, however, the intake is kind of annoying depending on the speeds that you're at, because you can hear the whistling coming from the intake when you're on the highway at about 75. But besides that, I mean, overall I've been pretty happy with the car. I had a 2013 Subaru Wrx that I loved, and then when the 15 came out, I didn't really like the body style at first, but then I decided that I really needed to make the jump to it, and I gotta say I'm way more pleased with my 15 than I was my 13. Some of the biggest differences that I could see already off the top of the hand was the quality of the interior was a lot better. The door plastics would scratch really easily on my 13, as well as the leather quality and stuff like that, so big upgrade as far as that goes. The sound system, this one's the premium package with the Harman Kardon and the nav, so the Harman Kardon speakers, I gotta say, is definitely worth it. I had an aftermarket sound system with 212s in my car, and I haven't had to put any subs in this car. It's got the factory Harman Kardon, and it sounds just as good as my other system did. So overall, really happy with the sound quality. Another feature I like about this one is the 6-speed transmission that's in this car. This one, since it's the STI Sport package, has the STI shifter as well as the STI short throw. It's not as short of a throw as I'd like, so I'm thinking about going aftermarket as far as the short throw system goes. I'm tuned by Ron over at Phatt Booty Tuning. Gotta say, those guys do some phenomenal work, and they're great to work with. Fast response. I think I did most of my tuning within 2 days, just logging back and forth. The tune's been working great since day one. I have about 4,000 miles on the tune and all the aftermarket parts that are on the car. Just a word of advice as far as if you haven't put a downpipe on your car yet, on the 2015s, I had about 14,000 miles on my car before I put the downpipe on, and I actually just barely rolled 18,000 miles. I'm at exactly 18,000 right now. But putting on that downpipe was probably the worst thing that I did on this car. It was the hardest part about it, because with the grimmspeed downpipe, they came with the bolts as well, and it was a nightmare. All four of them snapped off in the turbo housing. Luckily I work at Mercedes, and so I had it on the lift. We had some torches and stuff like that to actually get them out of the turbo housing. We actually had a tap. We were trying to tap and die one of the bolts out, and the tap actually broke in the turbo housing too. So huge nightmare as far as that goes. I don't recommend taking out the studs unless you have to, because if you're like my luck, all four snapped off, and it took about 2 days to get it all taken care of. But besides that, I got them all replaced. There's no problems with any of the turbo or anything like that. Everything's perfectly aligned now. I gotta love Grimmspeed's quality. Their quality of craftsmanship is excellent. I've always loved their parts, and that's why I went with a lot of their stuff instead of Cobb's or any of the other bigger names that are out there. But you can hear, I mean, just driving in the car, normal driving with the windows up, I mean, I can hear the exhaust a little bit, but if I get on it a little more, I can definitely hear it, the response. You can hear the intake, you can hear the turbo a lot more through the intake. The downpipe definitely helped with that as well. As far as the Tgv Deletes go, I obviously did mention, or I noticed a lot of the power that came from them. I haven't had any issues that some of the people have talked about on the forums as far as issues with Tgv Deletes, but I also did the EGR delete at the same time, which wasn't too big of a deal. It only took about an hour to do the EGR deletes. And I guess they're supposed to be paired really well together. But I don't live in a cold climate. Right now it's 64 degrees here. I'm in Florida. So we get some nice weather down here. I don't have to deal with the cold weather that you experience some issues with on the TGVs. One of the parts that I don't really like is the Mishimoto charge pipe. The fitment on the Mishimoto charge pipe is very, very tight. It's a single piece design. It was a pain in the butt to get in. Overall quality is okay, but it's a really tight fitment, and you really you gotta be careful with your upgrades and what you're doing, because you're kind of limited just because of the tight fitment from it. I haven't done an aftermarket intercooler yet. That'll be one of the next upgrades as far as performance wise. When Cobb releases their version for flex fuel, I'll switch over to E85 and do their flex fuel kit. Right now on this tune, max PSI, I'm sitting at about 20. But the car runs really good. Here's a little bit of a pull from a dead stop. Maybe a first to third. But overall, I mean, I really like the car. The tune's been great. Runs very smooth. No issues as far as that goes. Instant power. I've raced the 2015 STI with an intake and had him by about 3 car lengths. So, I mean, the power is definitely there. I have had an issue with my throwout bearing on this car already. Subaru's already replaced it once, probably 4,000 miles ago, and I've already started having problems with the sound on it again.